Hello, good morning. Yeah, I
Go
think we're
ahead.
good to go. Good morning and good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the final days of BSG. My name is Elemis. Will be your host for the next couple games. Just a quick reminder, we are close to 1,500 euro for our donation goals, which is super exciting. We have a couple incentives left open, including choosing the fate of Siri and Lambert for The Witcher 3 and the language pack for The Witcher 3, so get your donations in. You still have time for that. And I will be turning it over to the runners, Michael, and his commentary to take you away with Final Fantasies, The Crystal Chronicles, Echoes of Time.
So, I'm Michael K, and my commentator Valnor will be here to assist me in the commentary. This is Crystal Chronicles Echoes of Time, a DS game. We are playing the Wii version, which is basically a DS game played on the Wii. Yes, and it will look like that. But yeah, I think we had a name incentive, and we got the name Cloud.
Yes, that's exactly where we're at with that.
As everyone knows, Cloud is a beautiful Selkie girl.
Yes, we are playing Selkies because they are broken, and girl because helps with visuals later on. So yeah, I'm just gonna quickly count down, and then we are starting. 3, 2, 1, go! So we are starting off with a really nice cutscene. We did see a lot of that. And yeah, we are starting out by going into the forest, where we get a tutorial that we will hopefully not start.
And already you're seeing one of the key components of the Selkie race is that they are able to double jump, which is unique to them. And it is a very key point in this speedrun.
Yeah, even casually, they are like really broken. Just because there are so many puzzles that you can just skip by being Selkie.
So what Michael's doing here too is he's killing a few key mobs. The little goblins here are necessary to open the lever to get to the boss, but the other ones before that were just to get a little bit of experience so he does hit level 3 after finishing the boss off. Because the way leveling up works in this game is you gain skills and passive abilities the higher your level. And at level 3, Selkies get a charge attack, which is super handy, and you'll see why.
Yeah, you wanna also talk about animation cancelling?
Yeah, so he can't do it yet. Well, he can do a little bit. So if you move while you're attacking, you can shorten the delay between your swings, where you just stand still and swing, it's a lot slower. Once you get the charge attack, you can just let go of the charge instantly, and then just build up another one, and you can just keep charge canceling over and over and attack way faster than you'd normally be able to.
And here we meet Charlotta. She's pretty important for the story. We won't see as much of her in this run, because we kind of will skip half the game. And here is the difference between what I do and Valnor does. I'm getting this ring here, the Ring of Power, which is slightly for consistency. It's not really faster, but helps a lot. Valnor doesn't buy that one.
I try to consolidate my shops as little as possible, or as much as possible.
So
I don't have to remind you to talk to the green guy.
Yeah, that one is so easy to forget, and you will not notice until you are outside of town. I guess we can quickly talk about the story. Well, we turned mature today, and the first thing that we do is we run away from home. By the way, do we have any more names?
I don't believe we don't have any incentive donations towards the other 3 names, so I think you're good to name them as you wish.
Okay, then we just name them B, S, and D.
It's a lovely choice.
It's a shame one of those is getting replaced later.
BSG. Nice event. So, yeah, the aqueducts. We will have a few glitches in these, but for now it's just movement.
And for movement, anywhere you have a long stretch of flat ground, you definitely want to just hold the charge and move with that, because you obviously move much faster with it.
And here we can just pick up this box on our head. I'm sure that's intended. And here for the next glitch, if I can hopefully make it somewhat fast, we can jump through these grates if we are somewhat well lined up. But being lined up is hard, so... And that squirrel here really isn't helping.
Yeah, getting the first one is less important than the second one, just because this moo will just harass you non-stop.
Also, the second one is not as long taking if you would do it the normal way. I just do it the normal way. So yeah, if I would have gotten it, I would have been able to skip doing all that and be just over here.
So there's one major difference in New Game Plus for this dungeon, and it's that in this room there is the key to the boss door. And in New Game Plus, you have characters with smash attacks that can actually reach through the fence and grab the key, which is a weird oversight. But since we're so underleveled right now, we don't have access to that. So we have to actually go around, pick it up, and then come all the way back around to get to the boss. But you can skip the second path through the dungeon in New Game Plus, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I tried to find ways to do that in the first game, but okay, that one was one of the worst crate rooms that I can ever see.
They do not want to help you.
So yeah, the threat is technically to let them push that crate down with their movement. But they decided that that is not a good strat today. One is not on there. This is definitely like top 3 worst rooms in the games.
And then there's that key.
Yeah.
Now we have to go all the way back around. Thankfully, it's a rather short run, but would be nice if we could skip it.
Oh, we also have the ability to change the way our AI uses its abilities. And for pretty much all bosses, I'll set them to no magic, because them using magic just wastes time.
Yeah, so magic can cause status elements in this. Fire burns, ice freezes, and electricity stuns. But when a boss recovers from a status element, they are immune to it for a while longer. So it's much more beneficial for the player to be in control of the status ailments. So like you want to freeze the boss when it's good for you and not just let the AI do it. And Minotaur here is kind of a waiting game. You have to wait for the little blue flame above his head to wear off before you can hit him with spells again. And hitting him with spells are the only way to make him top over, so you can hit his weak point and actually do damage. And it takes 2 spells to do that, and then you can just charge cancel attacks and just combo them to death, hopefully in a 2 cycle.
Yeah, I don't think I ever managed to 2 cycle.
No.
Yes.
Okay. 3 cycles not bad though. 3 cycles still really good.
It also means
And
you
it
will
also
have a bit more gold. Just in case it ever comes up.
No, you're gonna get the accessory. It's a marathon. You have to get good luck. So, the main thing this run hinges off of is a special character you can recruit later on, which he costs a lot of money. So Michael's going to be picking up pretty much every drop that isn't out of the way, every piece of gil he can get, in hopes of obtaining at least 5,000 gil.
Yeah, ideally I will get around 5,600 because that will mean I don't have to sell as much. But if I don't get it, it's fine.
And some of these bosses, like the very first boss and the second one he just fought, they have a very small chance of dropping accessories that are worth 500 gil each. They're actually pretty good accessories too, but we don't really care for wearing them in the speedrun because they don't offer as much benefit when going fast.
Yeah, better to just sell them and get a character that's so overpowered that he can beat the endgame even if it's still hard. So we just gave the medicine that the friendly librarian guy made out of the horn of our last boss. I'm sure that that's good medicine, and this guy's friendly, so we gotta repay him. Friendly laughter.
I think one of the intro cutscenes too is him very definitely being friendly in the forest.
Yeah.
But we skipped that, so we don't know that yet.
Yeah, we definitely dream about him. And I almost forgot to buy the weapon. I know buy the ring there. I only buy the weapon there. The weapon is not as important for this dungeon. The reason it saves time is the next dungeon, but it's nice to have this one too. And that jump is really precise. Here's what is the first instance of a haste jump. Haste speeds us up, and if we are faster, we can jump further. So we totally abuse that if you have to.
So you can definitely see here just how overpowered the Selkie's double jump is too. You're seeing all these switches and levers we're supposed to be hitting, but if you can jump across the gap or up the cliffside, why would you solve the puzzle? And I don't think they realized just how broken they made the platforming in this game.
Yeah, in the full game playthrough, there's the library, and in the library, well, in the second playthrough of the library, there is a room that you literally fully skip because they forgot that you can double jump with one of the class.
Oh, that was nice of them.
Yep. At least we instantly can revive. Oh, friendly. This is one other of the worst rooms of the game.
This is technically the boss of this dungeon, and it's just, I mean, the little blue guy is not much of an issue, but the 3 float eyes constantly using magic and then firing eye beams at you is actually rather dangerous, especially since we never buy armor because it's just not worth it. So we can't really take hits easily.
This might be bad if I... One skill you see me use a lot is gravity. Gravity is a combination of ice and rice. And if I can use it, it does person-based damage and keeps them on the ground, which helps a lot. There we go. So, and these floating circle things that you see sometimes drop from bosses are there to increase our magic defenses. Really not too interesting to pick up them.
They also scale, so like you need gradually more and more to get to the next level. So
yeah.
In the speedrun sense, we'd never obtain enough to actually make a meaningful difference either.
Especially if we jump straight to the end boss at the 40-minute mark.
So we did the first task for him, but that's not enough. Now we have to go to the Fire Mountain and do another task there.
Yeah, and the only reason he does that to us is because he is interested in archaeology and keeping young people interested in that. Definitely no other reason.
I think this is also the first instance of an invisible wall, where you have to put that fire out, and it won't let you jump around it.
Yeah.
For the first instance, we actually encountered one in the speedrun.
Well,
otherwise we just jump around it.
Well, the first instance where the invisible wall is something you have to avoid, because there are other invisible walls that are kinda that we kinda like in forest, but that's not really one that is preventing us from skipping something, but just preventing us from going out of bounds. And here at these 2 barrels, there is an enemy that can spawn. He didn't, so that's not bad. Here in this room we need to unveil 4 switches. They are below these
Thankfully, the enemies are nice enough to have these explosive barrels to destroy the rocks. They're not too fond of us taking them, though.
Yeah, you obviously intended to beat the enemies, but that sounds slow, and we don't like being slow. Luckily we could ignore them enemies fully and just take them off their heads. They didn't mind it too much. That was bad. Not too
So
bad.
that fire is actually blocking the boss door too. It doesn't look like you can't go around it, but again, they randomly decide to put invisible walls in just the most arbitrary of locations, and that's one of them.
And here we will again set our crew to not use magic. Not because we don't like BSG, because they would waste time if we would give them the ability to use magic. What we want the spider to do is roll into a ball and then crush into the wall. There we go, ball.
Yeah, so when it rolls under the wall, it stuns itself for a little while, which lets you throw the water onto it, and then you can actually do real damage, whereas when it has fire on its head, you do like a fifth of the normal damage. So what he wants to do is he wants to get as many chain hits as he can in a row, and then freeze it, and then get some more, and then just wait for him to ram into the wall again.
I also don't mind all those people dying here, because they will waste time right at the end of the boss, when I need to go onto a platform.
Yeah, so there's big switches that trigger platforms and other exits in this game. And to trigger them, you have to have every living party member, whether you're playing solo or with other people, standing on it at the same time. So if the AI die here, it's no big deal. Their levels don't matter. For the most part, the extra characters are there for just backup heals and revives.
Heals, revive, and magic, because all magic media isn't really enough at all times.
Yeah, so that's one of the key differences too between the races in this game. There's 4 races. There's the Clavet, the Uke, the Selkie, and the Lilty. Clavet's your basic human, jack of all trades, kind of does everything equally. The Ukes, the 2 helmeted people in his party, are kind of the spellcaster race. They have the lowest MP cost and the highest MP count out of all the races. So they're kind of meant to just cast spells.
Not fully. They don't have the lowest in clear. That's for Clavats.
Oh, okay.
But
They do have they're kind of supposed to be the spellcasters.
Yeah.
Selkies have the double jump. They're supposed to be kind of like the charge attack race. They're pretty much just the same as Clavets, but they have increased spell costs for spells, so it's kind of hurtful because they are the ones we use for the speedrun, but they also run out of mana much faster than everyone else. And then Lilties just don't exist.
Well, that's supposed to be, I think, the
The tank slash
tanks, yeah, but
they have no purpose in the speedrun at all.
I think
And
in the original game, like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicle on GameCube, they are kinda useful, but kinda. You don't use them there either. You use Seikis in original Crystal Chronicles 2. I think Remaster uses abilities with the DLC.
So we went for a nap there, but all the guests must wash in the river before they can come inside.
Yeah.
Best cutscene ever.
For whatever reason, that happens every time.
They just keep moving.
Yep. If you do one of the other characters, that cutscene stays really weird because you only take a few steps forwards and just start walking. The main character doesn't go towards the house, so it's just weird. And here we see again one of these boss doors. And here's a little puzzle. Usually we're supposed to take this box. We don't.
Yeah, so putting the books on the pedestals will cause an automatic bell ring to form that casts Holy for you, and you're supposed to either stand on the switch you need it to cast on, or move a spell ring yourself to it. Or, as it turns out, you can just cast Holy yourself and hit whatever the object is you need. And then it just bypasses the whole need to use the books and solve the puzzle. And now for the fun part.
Yep, if you want donations, we got like 10 minutes of farming coming up, so anything that will come in?
Yeah, so I don't. We are still looking for some more donations to push us to that 1,500 goal. But if it's okay with you, I can read a little bit about Mind and just sort of remind folks of what we're sort of raising money for.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
So we're raising money for Mind, which is a nationwide organization committed to preventing mental health issues and to support everyone who has dealt with mental issues themselves or within their family. Every donation that we get goes to Mind. In particular, what we're trying to sort of get some support for is in every region of the world, mental health concerns surpass 10% of the population. Governments seem to lack momentum in reducing the burden of mental health problems, as only 55% have mental health awareness, and only 8% have suicide prevention plans. Organizations like Mind help raise awareness to the issues of mental health, and it helps us get one step closer to a world where everyone gets the help they need. And so, that's what we're trying to raise some money for. So if folks have the ability to, we would appreciate some donations, and there are still some incentives open as well. In particular, we have the Witcher 3 incentives regarding series fates, Lambert's fates, and the language choice for the Witcher 3, which include Polish, French, English, or Japanese, which I actually didn't realize that you could play the Witcher 3 in some of those languages, so that's exciting. What is it in particular, Michael, that you're grinding for here? You mentioned you spent about 10 minutes or so in this library area doing some grinding.
So he's probably counting drops right now, so I'll go ahead and say. So
Sure.
it's a mixture of things. When I started trying to route this game, I just went through as low level as possible, and the boss of this dungeon, you would normally do like 8 damage if you didn't level up. So we're going for a couple levels just to make the next few dungeons a little bit smoother. But these enemies also give a lot of experience for how easy they are to kill, and they also give a lot of drops. And we need to accumulate 5,000 gil about 40 minutes into the run. So this is also kind of a money farm in a sense. So just the ease of killing and just how quick it is to get to a large group of enemies that give, items that are worth 5 to 15 gil is super handy.
Yeah, I think you folks mentioned earlier that the hope is to get 5,000, but preferably 55,600 gil for a future part of the run, and this is sort of a way to guarantee some of that income.
Yeah, this is the bulk of it. There's chests and other stuff along the way that'll drop gil that we can get. I think we go for level 14 or 15 here, and that more or less guarantees we have enough gil, but a little more is always good for safety.
What I in particular do is go for 130 drops usually. Today we'll go for 140 just for the minor case that it would not be enough.
Yeah, so some of the items they can drop are worth, 5 or 7 gil, and then some are worth 15, and you can't guarantee really what you're going to get from them. So, on average, 130 drops should be enough, but just in case it rolls some pretty bad luck. But it looks like he's getting some good RNG with the drops. They have a chance of dropping 0 to 2, I think, per
0
kill.
to 3. 3 is really rare.
Yeah.
So is 10 minutes like an average, or is there, if you're looking at, pacing for really, really good personal bests, what's the best time you think you can probably get in the library, assuming your RNG is really good?
You want to talk about rings?
Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier that that bosses can drop rings that are worth 500 gil, so you can just go for the bare minimum level you're aiming for instead of actually getting enough drops for money here. I can't remember. So we haven't talked about version differences, even though the game is the same between the DS and the Wii. And the Wii version runs at, 60 frames per second?
Yeah.
And it runs...
Well, boosts run at 30 frames per second, effectively, but the DS version lags a lot more.
Yeah, so all of these drops you're seeing pop up all the time. On the Wii version, they don't really have an impact on the game, but the DS is obviously a little bit weaker in terms of, just hardware power. So when you defeat, say, a boss in this game on the DS version, and it explodes as a loot pinata, and you just see all those bags flying everywhere, the frame rate on the DS will completely tank until you start picking up items. The more sprites and models there are on the screen or in the area active at the time, slows down the DS version, whereas the Wii version just basically runs at full speed at all times.
The only point where I noticed that I can get lag for whatever reason is when I pick up that 5,000 that 5,000 gil guy. Sometimes I get lag. Otherwise, it's like minor stuff.
Yeah, that's a weird spot to just get a lag spike too. So that plant also just gets ignored if it doesn't walk up to the little mini movers, or what the little blue guys are called. Otherwise, it's kind of worth killing him because he can also drop gil. That was a very nice kill.
So, this is going to be now the last time I go in here. I will get enough drops throughout this, so I will actually build those little two skeletons over here, and hopefully can hit them a bit with the mini movers. Often it doesn't work out. And here's one of those books that we can't ignore. We throw it on our head just because we can then use a charge attack a bit earlier. And from here we just throw that book on the bookshelf. I have over 120 magic, so I will not switch my character in the next room. If I would not have enough magic, I would switch to the other Selkie. That's not really the reason we have the Selkie with us, but he's a nice, bit more Selkie magic. Again, the game developers definitely did expect us to be Selkies.
think it's really interesting that Final Fantasy has such a diverse type of gameplay in all of the titles that they've released. Like I've never seen a Final Fantasy game like this before.
Yeah, there's actually 2 of these on the DS, and both are absolutely worth playing.
Yeah, the Chronicles series in general has a lot of different ways of play. There's My Life as a King and Dark Lord, which are fully different gameplay overall. My Life as a King is a city builder, and My Life as a Dark Lord is a interesting spin on a tower defense.
That's actually really cool. The DS is funny that way, right? They released a lot of different games as DS versions that are totally unusual compared to the main console quote-unquote game releases.
So we're beating up our friend the librarian here. This is just what friends do, he's not that guy. He can occasionally summon the homunculus things, I think that's what they're called. Not really
golems, I think they're called.
Yeah. Golems will explode once they hit critical HP. They'll just start ticking and counting down. If they explode near him, they can stun him, which is pretty handy because he'll just be vulnerable for a little while. Otherwise, you can just kind of avoid his attacks rather easily. He has pretty easy tells this encounter. If not, then you can just throw a blizzard spell on him, freeze him for a little bit, and then just keep wailing on him. Otherwise, anytime you see him cast, and you just run away and then run back. And then his spell will 100% of the time just miss. Otherwise, pretty simple fight. You can also see that the poison status element is kind of very harmful. Yeah, because it'll just stun your movement and you'll just briefly stop, which gives the enemies the chance to hit you. Looks like you got a gem for your weapon later too.
Yeah, the gems up the these gems up the max level of the weapons. Levels on armor and weapons rings is not really important, but it's not bad to get them.
Yeah, so your equipment levels up in this game. By default, it usually only goes to level 3. You can get certain gems when you slot them into it, it'll increase the level cap of that gear. And every time it levels up, you'll have a little bit more attack power, a little bit more defense power if it's on armor. Basically, you just get experience as you keep killing stuff. So by the end of the game, you know, whatever weapon we slap that on might end up as level 4 or 5. So just a little bit more increase in damage, even if it's not a huge amount, still makes a difference when you're super underleveled.
Yeah. And there are other types of gems we will pick up too in this dungeon, but not to equip them, but to sell them, just in case I'm a bit short at the end. They're a nice backup.
So this is also the last dungeon we're going to do in the proper order. And then after that, we're going to kind of just ignore the rest and go for the end of the game.
Yeah, the endgame actually, the endgame dungeon actually does spawn when we were going to the library, but we are just not yet able to beat that, and we can't buy that overpowered character till after we beat the ruins. So we do that here real quick before we head over there.
So that's also one of those things that when I was looking into routing this game and I put Del D in the route, all of the guides and walkthroughs and FAQs on the internet all claimed you got you unlock the ability to purchase him way later in the run than we actually do. And then just spontaneously I decided, wait, maybe I should check the town to see if he's even there earlier. And sure enough, you can get him like 2 or 3 dungeons earlier than everyone says you can, which helped immensely, because those dungeons were not fun when underleveled.
Yeah, before Valnor did his daily route, I beat the game without using any special characters. I think
there was a lot more grinding.
Yeah, we grinded. Well, I grinded all my characters up to like.
I think you went to like 44, 45.
I think 50 was the end boss at the end.
Oh.
And
yeah, this character we're gonna buy comes in at level 30, and we just grinded to 14, so that's already double our level.
And he's stronger than we would be at the at level 50 without doing special training. That's also something. So based on how you do stuff, you can get the characters all stats 9999, but that would take a bit of time that we don't want to waste.
So Ruins is pretty straightforward. We just kind of have to do these side rooms to get these electric crystal things, just to continue lowering the center floor until we get to the bottom and we can actually fight the boss. Nothing really too special. There is kind of a big skip coming up in a bit. Kind of solves one puzzle, but it's again one of those things where they didn't realize that if people stacked enough jumping power, you could just ignore whatever obstacles they put in your way.
There I just was able to finish a flash focus charge while I was stunned under paralysis. That's just something that happens sometimes if you time everything correctly. Here we skip like some puzzle by just jumping onto the rope. And here's the big room that Valnor just mentioned. There's just this gigantic wall here, but
yeah, you can actually see on the second screen the blue exit at the top, and then the pink ones are the ones that are kind of locked and you have to solve the way out. But since this one's open, we're just going to take that one instead.
Yeah, and the puzzle in that room is really long.
So again, just getting a couple more of the electric crystals to unlock the floor. This room gives the boss key, so can't skip it. It's mandatory. Ooh, very nice, yeah.
Yeah, I always try to show that off when I get in a marathon, but it's basically luck.
What's a marathon without a little luck, right? So that's awesome.
So, and here I try to not forget that I want to switch my AI again. I do not want them to... Come closer.
So I think Michael mentioned earlier during the boss of Ice Mountain, or the bosses I guess, of how useful gravity is as a spell, especially against flying enemies, and conveniently enough, this boss is a flying enemy. And for one of those rare instances in Final Fantasy history, a boss is very susceptible to gravity, to the point where you can hit him with it multiple times and it does hefty amounts of damage. So you just kind of smack him with a couple gravities until they start having diminishing returns, and then just finish him off with some regular attacks. But he's just completely immobilized for pretty much the entire fight, and it's kind of unfair, but...
What's fairness in the speedrun?
And sure enough, after discovering that, you have to go and check like every other boss to see, does gravity work? Can we use it? And the answer is just no.
Yeah.
But if we could.
And especially on one boss that we will not see this run, we would like to use it, but sadly, no. Also, I sadly hit the wrong text option there by just mashing too much.
You were just trying to show the lore of the game, that's all.
Yeah, I hope you all got that. Also, if you got any more donations.
Yeah, we got a little bit of selling to do here to get the money.
Okay, let's see here. We are still actually looking for some more donations to push us to our incentives. Just a quick reminder for the incentives coming up. We have Picking Series and Lambert's Fate for The Witcher 3, and then the language pack incentives, which include having the game played through Polish, French, English, or Japanese. So if you have any preference to see how The Witcher 3 is played through, that would be a great time to donate to that. And our next coming up runs are also going to be Command and Conquer, so lots of good stuff for folks. As a reminder, we are hosting this event for Mind. Mind is an organization that is currently supporting concerns such as suicide and mental health. In particular, worldwide, suicide ranks as the third leading cause of death in youth between the ages of 15 and 19, and as the second leading cause of death for girls of this age group. Early recognition of mental health concerns is essential to reducing suicide rates, improve treatability, and reduce the severity of severe illnesses, including depression, psychosis, eating, and substance abuse. Mind tries to help bring awareness by providing classes at schools to inform youth on the topic and through social media campaigns targeting youth to encourage them to be more open about mental health issues. So if folks have some ability to donate, we're really close to hitting our goal of 1,500 euros, and it would be really appreciated. And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Valinar, if you're hoping to mention something.
No, he's just renaming Deldy, which I completely forgot you could actually rename special characters.
I also forgot that I thought you can't rename them, but I saw that option. So, he's now named BB instead of just B.
And Michael did get more than enough gil, which is super nice. So he's able to afford a weapon.
Yeah, I did buy a bow, the highest good weapon for this guy, and then I also buy out another damage ring, just because it's a damage ring. And here I try to now do a little somewhat setup. So hopefully it works. If I manage it, I will just
Yeah, so the AI in this can kind of interrupt your pathing a little bit, and you need to kind of just run a full straight line without being interrupted. So initially we thought this was only doable in multiplayer mode, which you can switch to whenever you want, because you only control one character in that, so it just removes the party members. And then Michael found a rather reliable setup to do it in single player.
Yeah.
Which this is a lot harder than it looks too.
Especially, I'm actually playing this on a Wii. So, yeah, I play this on a Wii controller and nunchuck. So, if you ever try to control something precise with the control stick, you notice that may not work out as well as you were hoping.
Also, this is the final dungeon of the game, so we're just kind of ignoring the rest of the stuff that's unlocked. You are definitely not supposed to clip out of bounds there, but since it's an option, here we are. And the loading zone is, for some reason, still active.
Yeah. The collision of the inbounds area is actually still active before anything gets shown. Just the dungeon needs to spawn for the actual entrance to appear.
Also, right now, you can see the sheer damage difference that this Del D character is doing. The other characters are hitting for, 20 or so, or actually one in their cases. And Del D is capable of hitting for, 140 plus. He does have drawbacks, though. Despite his high stats, he's got very low HP for his level and his race for what he should be at. And I think his MP is also lower than you would normally have.
He actually has lower life and MP than our Cloud.
But since he hits so much harder, we kind of have to use him. It essentially cuts off like any extra grinding you would need to do just buying one really strong character. So that was Elevator 1. There's 3 of them in tower, and they're kind of just kill all enemies. And then it'll just mysteriously stop at a random floor for you. I don't know how they built it to do that, but it works.
And we can actually jump into the loading zone a bit early. If you actually manage that saves time. I obviously did manage that first try, there was nothing before.
So this clip is pretty interesting too. So you're going to want to haste and then run after you switch characters, and then the character you were holding with, the AI will just throw you away because that's kind of just how they're programmed to get rid of whatever's on their head after a while. And the haste allows you to just clip through the wall. Otherwise we'd have to go through another room to get up there.
Yeah, there are 3 rooms, I think, that we skip like that.
Yeah.
Like the entire lower part of this room. We will get into the other room that we skipped, from that in a moment. Huh? Okay, I missed the BSG.
Moving platforms and spell rings don't mix very well, because the spell rings don't lock to the platform, they lock to their coordinates essentially.
Well, they move with the platform, but they are, when casted, ignore the platform. Yeah, I'm just using this setup to avoid getting hit from them, because if they hit me, they can stunlock me, which can kill this character. Like we said, this character is not necessarily the strongest for surviving, but he does a lot of damage.
And you're also supposed to be like 15 or 20 levels higher than Del D. Yeah, I think casually you'd normally be 45 to 50 in this dungeon.
Yeah.
If you actually did the rest of the game.
But
so everything here is very dangerous.
You would also have armor, I guess, casually.
that armor makes getting that type of stuff makes the run go slower. I'm assuming, so you just skip it for the.
Well, the way the shops upgrade to is partially based on character level. So the stuff we have access to is very low tier stuff because we just aren't the level we would normally be at if we played casually. So like even buying it's not worth it.
Also, it would be much too much money.
Yeah,
Or to
outfitting
reverse it.
4 characters. It's not really viable.
Even
The
just
best
one.
defense is good offense.
So while we're waiting, I know you mentioned the elevator's a good time for some discussion. Do you mind answering, Michael? Like, what made you choose this game to speedrun, and yeah, what kind of makes you interested in running this game in particular?
The reason I chose it was basically just it looked interesting. When I played it casually, I wanted to play like all the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles game, and so when I came to this one, I actually liked it.
Yeah, and I ran the first DS game, Ring of Fates, which is pretty similar to this in how it handles, action RPG with platforming and leveling up and stuff. And then this game I just never had played when it came out, so I picked it up casually and I actually finished playing through it. I'm like, well, maybe the speedrun would be fun. And then sure enough, like 1 or 2 weeks prior to that, Michael had done his first runs of it. I'm like, oh, someone finally got around to it. And it was nice to actually have someone to route with and, bounce ideas off of. We came up with some pretty good skips too. So I think there's a couple New Game Plus runs on YouTube, but other than that, there wasn't really anything for New Game. So it was a fun challenge to take this game and just work it out what we could.
Yeah, there are 2 New Game Plus runners. One of them did an unrestricted run, but what we are doing here, the difference in that is that they were able to go to the end game a bit earlier.
Yeah, without the need of buying Del D, you don't have to do library or ruin. So right after Fire Mountain, when the tower would have popped up or whatever, you can just go straight to it. So that's way faster in New Game Plus. I think it's like a 30-minute run.
Yeah. Sadly, I just go there a Quake instead of Gravity.
I mean, you stop the spell from hitting you. That's more important to me. Because this room is like my run killer. Because it's always dangerous. As his other 3 members just died.
Yeah, I only keep them alive because if they're dead, that's also could mean that I'm just dying.
Yeah, so it's a game over when all of your characters die, and when you game over, you do retain your experience and items and stuff, but you're sent back to the last time you touched a save crystal. And the only save crystal in this dungeon is at the very top of the tower.
Well, that's not true. There's a second save crystal at the very first room.
Which is where game over would send you. So not dying is very important, and this is the one room that would have the potential to really kill you. Although that last turtle has got to me before too. On the last elevator.
I had a few runs. Funnily, I don't have magic. That's kinda maybe problematic. I hope not.
Your other Selkie does. You have that one refill room with the 3 green ones coming up soon.
But I wanted to just say that that refill room is that my last run killer.
Oh.
I so often got stunlocked in that room from stupid stuff happening. And speaking of that room, here we are, and we do not have magic, so we cannot actually do focus attacks. Instead, we are doing charge cancels.
As long as they're not looking at you. Because they can go into a blocking animation, which, if it blocks your attack, you just kind of get staggered briefly, and then they will counterattack you. So it's a good way of just taking extra damage that you wouldn't otherwise.
And these explosions also do a lot of damage. Okay, runs full magic. Speaking of platforms and magic not really mixing, if I cast that spell a bit early there, it just straight up doesn't line up. You can also use two circuits on each other, but that's really hard to actually do.
Especially on the Wii version where you have to point at the screen to switch your characters quickly.
Yeah. That's also something, there's a second guys, come all over here, I don't want you to die. I'd overall prefer them to just stay away from me, really.
Thankfully, those are more or less the most dangerous enemies in this floor, or in this tower elevator.
So will this be a good... sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering if this would be a good time on the last elevator to read a donation.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. We have a $420 donation from Anonymous, and loving the stream and the cause behind it. Shout out to my home G Tavon. Thank you so much, Anonymous. Really appreciate your donation.
Another enemy that's somewhat annoying in this is these walkers. Because they can do a lot of damage depending on what exactly they do. I kinda want to heal.
Yeah, I don't know what your other party members doing down there. They're like trapped by one of the chest areas. Which is probably they're safe.
That's one of the best places for them to actually land. Because, like they said, they don't die there.
Alright, so final two enemies.
Why is he not dead?
Oh, he didn't blow up. Okay. Now the final two enemies.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, so I don't think we've mentioned that the charge attacks, when you actually let them go off, they do consume MP. And then you also want to kind of keep your MP for when you need to revive your revivers, essentially, because that's all they're really there for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
There are also Phoenix swords that are randomly spawning at some point, but that's random. Also, we just saw them trying to revive him, and this platform was moving too fast for them to actually hit him.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like, I'm not sure about in the regular levels, but each boss fight should have 1 or 2 Phoenix Downs, but you can only see them when you are dead. They're usually just like kind of on the outskirts. Alright, so this is phase 1 of the final fight. We get to fight Librarian again, except this time his hand is a lot bigger and he's probably 10 times more dangerous.
10 times? He's doing 1-hit KOs.
Yeah, so he does like a little circle AoE around him occasionally. And yeah, so like that one you just saw right there. And your AI will never make it out in time if they're just following behind you. So they're guaranteed to just die in 1 hit to him.
Yeah.
You can have 2 hits with Del D.
No, you don't. Most attacks you 1-hit KO.
Okay. I guess I'm used to no map glitch.
Yeah. He has 2 attacks that instantly kill you, and that's the other one. He claws the ground, which does not do damage in a single hit, but in like 3 hits, which does enough to kill you.
Yeah, and then the other one, I think the orbs give you like an attack down debuff and stuff.
Yeah. Another thing that can kill you if you get hit by one of the explosions of a golem. That's an instant death.
So Michael's getting really lucky here too, because much like the first time we fought him, he can just randomly summon the golems again. Oh.
You wanna stop talking? Oh. Commentator's curse, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't summoning golems. That's what I was saying was good luck.
Hey, one of my people survived, which is one of the best things that can happen because they will now revive my other characters and they're going to be out of sync a bit. And these characters being out of sync means they can keep him a bit more annoyed. That's probably the best way to describe it.
You'll just kind of waste time cycling between your characters, and as long as he doesn't do the AoE, he's only really gonna kill one of them at a time.
Yeah. So again we see the blue flame. And this golem blinking is when we can use them to explode him, but bringing him close to enough is really hard. And I try to use freezing him as much as possible, because if he's frozen he can't attack, and if he can't attack I can't die. And I prefer being slow and not die in a marathon than being fast, risky, and potentially taking deaths more than the one that I already have.
Yeah, this fight is absolutely terrifying. Like, compared to no map glitch, where you actually go through the rest of the dungeons and you end up like level 43 or 44 and you do over twice the damage. Like, just being able to die at any moment is not fun, especially at the very end of the run.
Yeah, when I play this on my own streams, I have a heart rate monitor on, and during this fight I'm often in the 140s with my heart rate. Something you probably already noticed is we use our own characters to help us a bit protecting against the orbs that he throws at us.
Also, fun fact, golems will not explode if they're in the middle of casting. They will wait until afterwards.
Yeah, which actually can be really nice, because if the golem is still away from him, you can use that time to lure him. And then, if you actually manage to get out without being stunned, that might be dead. Okay, we get out. Okay, that was really scary. I think he should be done if I freeze him.
As long as the golems don't get in the way.
Okay, we did it. So, refill on his magic. Revive everyone. Refill more on health and magic. And now for phase 2.
Yeah, even though there's 2 phases, after you clear the first one, you basically get a checkpoint, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This phase also is pretty annoying, because he gets a barrier whenever there's one of his spawns is out, and the small pyramids, killing them is definitely worth it. Any of the others? Not worth it. It's much better to just hit through him. He can, once he has all 3 of his body parts out, he can fuse at any point, which is the best thing that can happen once he has all 3 out.
Yeah, so this fight is kind of RNG on what he decides to do, which is rather unfortunate because you can't really just burst him down. So, like Michael said, if the arms are out, he takes the gray damage, which is like a third of what he would normally take. And then you can kill the arms to re-enable doing normal damage, but he'll usually summon them before you have a chance to really do anything, so they're not really worth going for. And then he just summoned the body and actually fused really quickly, which is odd. Normally the body just slowly moves towards him, and then he'll, much like the Power Rangers, just become a giant mech thing, combining all of his parts together. After he fires his laser, he kind of goes into a vulnerable state where you just kind of... Oh no, you have to break the body first, that's right.
Yeah. But this broke now the arms of his body, which is kind of the worst thing. I prefer him staying in the fuse state for a bit longer, because in the fuse state I can actually really avoid him. Right now I can't do much if I don't want to get hit by magic.
It's also really hard to see where these enemy targeting circles are when there's just so much blocking your view.
What I'm trying here right now is to somewhat hit the arms, because if I can kill one of those arms before the body is destroyed, that's nice. Because that magic hand, the 2 hands are 2 different ones. One does magic, the other tries to do physical attacks. Ideally, I can kill the magic hand, because that one's the more annoying one. And I'm dead. That Zoo gives us the chance on the Quickle again. The Quickle is him never summoning anything. We are... Okay.
Yeah, if you can freeze him before he summons the pyramids, you can sometimes get him stuck in a loop where he just kind of goes for your party members over and over.
Yeah. And
Apparently not this
that's
time.
what I tried to do right now. Get all my party members in different directions. And that means now that all my party members will revive each other every now and then. And that just delays them. And we can still get somewhat... Well, no, not anymore. But I guess I'm still trying to somewhat hit him through the barrier. It's not worth to only focus on the barrier because he's too likely to spawn his last body part. I'm dead. I just got comboed by 2 magics. So yeah, this boss is pretty much, like we said, just Andy. Like, he spawns those guys. The prior round he didn't really spawn them until he was Half-Life. He also right now rushes his spawns, which is actually the best thing that can happen.
People were saying in the chat that this boss seems disproportionately difficult compared to anything else you've done so far in this game.
It makes for a good final boss, though, having a challenge like this. But yeah, it's definitely very difficult.
I mean, we are also kinda a bit under-leveled. Don't forget that.
Yeah, so in the no-map glitch run, where you end up a little bit higher of a level, like when he was going for that quick kill in the very beginning by freezing and just attacking, you can actually just wholly kill him before he really does anything in that category.
So now I have him stunned, and I can do more damage to him than if he's not stunned, which is really nice.
Yeah, so there's one plus side to him using and firing that laser. He becomes much more vulnerable, so like the longer the fight goes on, the better your chances of killing him.
Dang it. I obviously wanted to cancel him out of that summon. Oh hey, we are now at the level up.
Yes, the level ups also fully heal you in this, both HP and MP, so you know, in a clutch moment, they can come through for you.
Yeah, I remember one time where I had one level up from one of those exploding golems. Just as I was knocked down to 1 health before I would have been hit by another one damaging me. Also a thing that I guess is somewhat interesting is they are now using Biogar, I think? Which obviously is a bit harder to evade than just the beds that he used in the first fight.
Yeah, he's also added either Blizzara or Blizzaga to his routine too. So like if the circle's even close to you, it'll hit you, whereas like before we could just run backwards over the spell circle and it would just miss if it's just a level 1 spell essentially. but that's not an option in this fight, so you have to kind of just keep running away from it and lure it as far away as possible.
Yeah, but we should make it this time.
Yeah, that laser attack feels very out of place too, because it doesn't really do anything.
There we go. It should be true now. And once he's killed, there will be a quick scene.
Yeah, there's a little bit of movement to get to the credits still.
Yeah, about 30 seconds after I skip the next cutscene. No, this next cutscene.
So we destroyed the only crystal remaining, so no more Crystal Chronicles, because there's no more crystals.
Yeah, but this game also has a time loop, because that crystal destroyed all crystals 2,000 years in the past. And we are done. So, anyone knows the time? I hope it was good. Yeah, that crystal respawned kinda somehow for whatever reason. It's not really explained. It just happens to do so.
Yeah, your time was 1 hour 19:32.
A bit over time, so I'm sorry for that. Well, we are not going to let you endure us any longer. So, thanks for now for having me out with the commentary. Thanks ESA and BSG for having me. And yeah, gonna see you all next time. Bye.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael and Valinor, for hosting and or commentating and running that game. That was awesome. We are going to go into an intermission and do a couple ads, but when we come back, look forward to Command and Conquer Tiberian Sun, followed by The Witcher 3. So hope everyone keeps watching, keep those donations up. We're so close to 1,500, and we hope to see everybody in just a little bit. Take care.